Bobby, thank you so much for being here
Thank
with
you.
us for this interview,
Thank
this
you.
documentary. Very interesting. What do you consider the key factors that contributed to your success?
Recognizing, recognizing my generational patterns in my family, my mom and dad, their mom and dad. I started recognizing it's a pattern that we were just repeating, and including myself. I was all part of that pattern until I recognized it by just having an outside lens to say, man, this is just not how other people are doing it. And I just started looking outside, into my family, and I didn't like what I was seeing.
Okay. Sorry to. My voice won't be heard.
Okay.
So
I'll repeat it and
will
okay.
not repeat the question, but give the subject you're
Got it.
answering
Got it.
so
Got it.
that it's clear.
Got it.
Um, what does the concept of positive mental attitude mean to you?
The total opposite of positive mental attitude to me, and the reason I created it, I got impacted by it. It was a total opposite of my family. My family was very negative, very complicated, a lot of sensitivity, a lot of suicides, a lot of drug use, like a lot of families have. And I wanted to look at life completely different versus that type of energy. I wanted to really look at brighter light. And I said, man, what is the solution? Why are they always arguing? Why are they not talking about the solution versus the issue? And I just started really just getting more positive about it by looking at the solution. And every time I would bring up a solution, I would get buy-in from my family. They will say, wow, okay. And I would become that leader, even at a young age, by providing or recommending a solution and pushing us towards a solution.
Okay, wonderful. What does success mean to you?
Personal freedom. So success is not financial freedom for me. It's how I feel inside. I didn't get that in the beginning. A lot of people say, well, what's success? And they look at, how we sold a company for $1 billion, how we created a real estate portfolio, how we did some other things. And success is being married for 35 years. Success is being an incredible role model for your kids, me being a role model for my grandkids, me feeling proud of who I am. And that's success to me. And that's where a lot of people, I think, have it wrong, including me when I first started. I thought success was all about the money factor. I chased the money. It just didn't work for me until I started getting myself correct and feeling good about myself.
How did you overcome limiting beliefs?
So how I overcame limiting beliefs, and it's a very powerful theme because a lot of people just can't overcome it, recognizing my generational patterns, recognizing how my father had his beliefs, my mother, my sisters, my brothers, my grandparents, they all had limited beliefs. Seeing that and actually waiting on people on tables, as a waiter, I'm looking and hearing conversations at the table of big high-level conversations, people winning, people creating. It got my curiosity, and curiosity for me was the biggest advantage I had, and it just opened my mind.
Uh, how can one overcome the generational patterns?
First, if you want to overcome generational patterns, at least for me, my personal experience, you have to recognize there is an issue here. And then you really look at the issue. You want to break the curse, as I do, and then know you have no control of the past. You have no control of anything other than your time and your future. So if you want to break your patterns, you got to recognize you are entangled with a pattern. And that pattern for me was so thick, it wrapped itself around my body, man. It was so hard for me to unwind these patterns I picked up as a peewee, being around my family. And I love my family. I'm not talking bad about my family, but I just didn't want to do life that way. And even recognizing I didn't want to do life that way, it was so hard because I would revert back. I would be inconsistent about it. So it takes tremendous amount of effort. And the only way I accomplished that effort was to disconnect from my family in a lot of different ways. And it's such a sensitive topic because family is so sensitive.
What does failure mean to you?
Not trying. Failure is not intentionally giving everything you have to offer in your day. A lot of us say, I put 100% in. That's a bunch of bull crap. I was a bull crapper. I used to say the same thing. You can never put 100% in. You can never reach 100%. Think about if you believe that as I do, how much more you can stretch. So failure is actually not giving it your all. When I put my head on that pillow every night, did I dominate? Did I accomplish things? Did I waste any time? I constantly monitor myself. So failure is just not in, just claiming and not doing it, man. And a lot of people think you're failing. And I want to talk on this for a moment. You're gonna fail. My wife had a problem with that when I used to tell my kids, you will fail. You want to fail, but fail the correct way with good intentional effort. So when a lot of people fail or they make a wrong investment or something goes wrong or they heard a horrible story, they quit. That's the wrong failure. You want to lean into it. You want to actually learn something. The only way you learn something, in my opinion, is make a mistake because there's a lesson. And now you have more information. So when you try again, the odds are in your favor. You may fail again. Jeff Bezos, he decided to open Amazon. Amazon is not the business when he first started it. It's an evolution that continues to grow. You never fail. If your business is not working out, it's not failing. It's just actually growing in different directions.
Absolutely. What lessons has failure taught you about, about the way you speak to yourself?
Yeah, so I do believe in self-talk because I used to lie to myself. So you got to be willing to talk to yourself because you're the only one that knows your bull crap. You know you're lying because most of us lie to ourselves. It's so easy to lie to ourselves. I used to be a real good liar. I lied, I justified, I came up with every good reason to believe my own crap. Until you realize you're a liar, and it's strong. What I'm saying here, you have to realize you're a liar. I'm gonna start losing weight. I'm gonna start exercising, and you don't do it. You're a liar. You just made yourself a commitment to your own self, and you didn't do it. Well, you lied. You didn't do what you say. See, I believe in do what you say and say what you do. That's a leader. That's a higher standard. If I say I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it because I know my grandbabies are watching. It's not what you say, they're watching.
Wow. Um, what was the most difficult belief about yourself that you had to overcome to move forward in life?
The biggest battle I had about belief, there was one area, education. So I only got through the ninth grade. And ninth grade back then was junior high, not like it is today as a high school. So ninth grade is roughly about 14 years old, 14, 15 years old. I failed at the third grade in public system in Miami. Nobody fails at the third grade. A lot of teachers didn't give me maybe the confidence I was looking for. I didn't really believe I was smart enough to actually accomplish stuff. Even when I started my business, I thought I was gonna run out of my runway, but I didn't realize, man, the curiosity, I just started self-talk because I had more time to focus on it because I'm spending less time getting distracted. So my biggest battle was something that many people don't know about. I was second questioning myself because I didn't have the education like some of my peers, Harvard, my competitors, MIT. I mean, in my space, forming the first fintech company, I was around a lot of people that had a lot of educational credentials, sitting in the room and all that. That took me a little bit to overcome it. Does not mean that someone else has to take that long to overcome it. You are special, man. You're 1 out of 8 billion people. When I recognize how that is so powerful, whew, I let go.
Absolutely. What does your inner dialogue sound like in moments of triumph? And has it evolved over time?
Yeah, it definitely evolved. I do morning walks. I'm very grateful for life. I'm really happy that I got close to God now. My journey now is about getting through that next chapter of Bobby. I'm so curious about who this next Bobby is. What is he going to be doing? What is in store for me? I mean, I'm excited. It's the unknown, but I just know I got to continue marching forward, and things start evolving, and it becomes so clear of how to execute, what to do, what not to do. So it's a constant journey for me.
How did you manage to change your inner dialogue? If before you were lying to yourself and now you're not. How do you change your inner dialogue?
How I change my inner dialogue, it's so critical and so simple. How I feel within. I know I'm a bull crapper or if I know I'm a real leader. See, I believe in leadership. I want my grandbabies to really, I want to be an example of my grandbabies and their babies of how to do life at high standards, treating people with kindness, creating things, not wasting time, impacting lives. Now, that sounds great to say that, but internally, we either know it's true or not. And I just feel like I'm every bit of that, and it feels so freaking good. It feels so authentic. It feels so transparent that that's the biggest measurement I would challenge anybody on. How do you feel internally? Are you proud of yourself? Can you actually say you're actually has changed? Things are changing. You're making intentional, consistent, disciplined efforts.
So what would you recommend for a regular person to change their inner dialogue?
If you want to change your inner dialogue, the first thing, at least for me again, is look at your ecosystem. You got to see what's around you, because whatever's around you, you're part of it and they're part of you. There's no ifs or buts about it. You are being suffocated, and unless you make room and cut out some people, things you're doing, you're never going to reach that incredible magic that I'm talking about, because you're never going to, you need to have some alone time to really get there. It's very lonely. Most people don't like lonely because they need energy from somebody. They need to keep busy. They need to be busy having someone justify their bull crap, and they can never really get there. Very few do, and because they're intentional about it.
How do you silence the internal critic when it becomes louder than your confidence?
Yeah, I don't get swayed. I know exactly. So, for example, I don't get swayed or allow anything to sway me. I'm all about data. So I'll talk a little bit about investments, business. Everything's about data. Data has no personality, has no emotion. It's the closest thing to fact. I base everything on data, and then I conclude my own decision. Of course, I have my outside influence, my leadership team, to recognize it. But I'm very clear on my decisions because I know exactly what I want. I know exactly what I'm risking. I do know the downside on everything. So it's very critical. And I think the problem why most can't pivot to become really successful in many layers in life, they're just not willing to cut out some people. I keep going back to it. You have to cut out people and things that are consuming your mind. Whatever consumes your mind, you shall become.
Absolutely. If your inner dialogue was a mentor, what consistent advice or lesson would it offer?
It'll definitely tell me, Bobby, constantly always stay uncomfortable. See, me and my wife, we have every reason to be comfortable. We truly have generational financial freedom. Many people claim financial freedom, and that's totally awesome. But when you say generational financial freedom, it can go on for 2-3 generations. Because there's a stat, you can create it, your kids blow it, nothing there for the grandkids. And it's 70% chance that happens. And it's so critical to understand that one fundamental of recognizing what is at risk here. I have created all this. Why? Why did I want this? So at the end of the day, it's not about the money for me. It's about generational patterns. I want my grandbabies to do life differently. I don't want them to be in chaos. I don't want them to be in constant conflict. I don't ever want them to be stuck. I want them to grow, challenge themselves. And that inner Bobby, that mentor Bobby, don't ever get comfortable, Bobby. Think about it. I'm constantly investing, constantly buying real estate. On boards with some investments I made with businesses. I have a debt fund that, I'm constantly, and everyone tells me, especially family members, Bobby, enough. When's enough's enough? They just understand this is about creating. This is about activity in life. I'm impacting. So never to get uncomfortable. That's that higher Bobby.
Wonderful. Two more questions.
Yes, sir.
What is ego for you, and how do you manage it?
Yeah, I know ego really well. And I do believe at 57 years old, ego comes in different shapes and forms. I have a saying, ego is not your amigo. When you have an ego, you're not going to learn nothing. You're the smartest person in the room. The smartest person in the room is the biggest one that's going to lose in that room. An ego will prevent growth. I let go of that ego a long time ago, and because of that, everything came to me. Just think about that. I just was vulnerable, just vulnerable. What can I learn from this, that, a lesson, these people, that strategy? If you have an ego, you're not going to really pick up 100% of it.
What is your message to the world?
Be kind. Kindness is very powerful. So you're looking at an individual, and I don't have much of a resume other than what I created. I sat at some very high level tables. Imagine selling a company for $1 billion, negotiating maybe with some private equity firms, some of the biggest in the world, sitting with institutions, building my business, doing a lot of stuff, buying deals for $125 million deal, dealing with life companies and all that stuff. It always dawns on me where, what can I actually accomplish? How do I win the war? I used to get caught up in battles. This is where this ego came from. And it's incredible when you're so kind, you never get a no. It's the most powerful thing when you're negotiating. It's the most powerful thing in business. A lot of people have this image of a business owner, a big, powerful in business owner. No, man. Kindness is very, very powerful. When you treat somebody with respect, good morning, whether they're a waiter, whether they're a housekeeper, whether they're the CEO of the world, everyone should be treated with kindness. When you set that example, I can't tell you how that benefited me in my business. You just don't create something for $1,700 and scale it like I did. I had to get a lot of buy-in. And how you get buy-in, just be kind. It's the most powerful thing. And then when you start seeing the impact and the results from it, you start becoming just a good, kind person. It just evolves.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Bob.
You're welcome, man.
Wonderful.
You're welcome, dude.